Hello. I made it. Hello, everybody out there in internet land. This is Tristan from Step Back History, and this is the countdown stream for, geez, it's already the 31st of May. This month disappeared on me. I see Big Seltzer in the chat, and 1 through 8 is already here. So for those who this is their first time at the stream that happens, and Ron's here. For anyone who it's their last, or it's their first time here, that was the thing I was supposed to say. This is a stream I do 1 hour before a new Step Back video comes live. Sorry, I'm a little sleep deprived. And I try to help people out, ask questions, or answer questions, I suppose. Talk to you guys in the audience for the hour until the new video goes live. And that's my typical Thursday afternoon ritual. So I can already see there's a few of you in the chat. Hannibal, Lukey, and Ron, and 1 through 8, and Big Seltzer. What's the video about? This is my Iranian Revolution video, and it's going to be very long. It's like a 23-minute long video. It's a big one. I'm excited. The runtime of it is 22 minutes and 49 seconds. Yeah, it represented a lot of writing and a lot of animating. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay. So we already have a question. Did the people who lived around the Amazon River in pre-Columbian times, circa 1400, practice any forms of agriculture? Did they have cities and/or writing? Well, 225 AD. There's a lot of questions in that. So for a long time, it was believed that the Amazon was too overgrown. And then a lot of the pre-Columbian people of Brazil were very over the top. Thank you, Hannibal. A lot of people in Brazil were just simple, primitive hunter-gatherers, but there's now increasing evidence that a lot of the plants of the Amazon, especially the trees and what species of trees flourished, might have been selected for by humans, to the point where they think that there might have been regions of the Amazon rainforest that had settled societies in them that not so much, it's not that they didn't exist, it's that when these societies possibly existed, and then when they died out, they were overgrown. And so there's mounting evidence that there's a hidden civilization somewhere in the Amazon that we aren't 100% sure that we know everything about. If you want to read more about it, if you read the book 1491 by Charles Mann, he talks about it a little bit. Hopefully there's plenty about the democratically elected government that the US and UK overthrew in the 50s. Of course, Big Seltzer. Mohammed Mossadegh and the coup, Operation Ajax, and stuff like that is in there. I did kind of gloss over it very fast because I said that I wanted to make it its own video, but still, it's there. So the thing I always like asking to put things into context is, how long did it take to make the video, and how long did the separate parts of editing, writing, filming, and voicing take? So for me, script writing usually takes me maybe 2 or 3 days, like full days of working. Maybe a little bit less, probably about 2 days. And editing usually takes me, like, drawing and animating takes me usually about, I either 2 days of normal stuff or one really long day. And then I usually record on a different day than those things. So usually on a typical week, I am like, my typical process has me starting work on my videos on the weekend. I'm trying to think of how I can talk about this in like the right way. So like, I start writing a script. Usually I have a due date to have the first draft of my script finished by Tuesday. And then I try to not look at my script for a couple days and pick it up usually on Thursday night or Friday. And that's when I do like the touching up and the editing, which is considered a thing like, you know, a side gig for a lot of time. And then I record it usually on Friday afternoon. So Friday is the last day when I have the apartment to myself. Hey, George. And so that's when I record it, because, you know, that involves like turning my wife's computer off and putting a blanket over my computer and recording it. And so Friday is usually the day I set to edit and record my script. So after I've written it, usually for Tuesday. Hello, Wolframium and Uga. Oh, jeez. I'm not going to say that one. That's... Anyways, after I finish writing on the weekends, or after I finish writing the script, which and having it recorded, Jenga Tree 121, hello. Oh, my. I have it recorded, and then I have basically until Monday to finish the animations, which I usually get done either... I try to get mostly done over the weekend, and then on Monday I take to touch things up and get it ready so that patrons can see it before it comes out on Thursday. So the way that it's designed is kind of weird, because I finish my script and I try to get the other one, and we get to the end and everything works out so that once the video is live for patrons, I can get to work on the next video. And it gives me usually most of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for like either doing this with you guys, getting ready for things like I'm still like obsessively applying for jobs. So I really need to get, I'm spending my days like, you know, applying for a lot of jobs. So, you know, that's my week right now. But between Friday and Tuesday are like my YouTube days. Taking down some questions. You guys have a bunch of them here. This is the first chat I have seen on a largest channel that isn't spammed with hundreds of questions per second. Ooga Booga, I think you overestimate the size of this channel. Also, it's the middle of the afternoon on Thursday, so it tends to be quite quiet around here. All right. Do you consider YouTube a reputable job or like another source of income or a hobby? Well, Wolframium, the way that my YouTube work works right now, I get the way that things work right now for me. YouTube is like a full-time job with a part-time job's income. I have no issue with treating YouTube like a job. I would really love if it could. I really wish that I was in a situation in which Patreon and, you know, PayPal donations and AdSense all added up to an amount that I could actually live on, but it doesn't. It's at the moment it's maybe about almost $400 a month, which is not where it needs to be for me to live on. So for the moment, it's like at the moment it's less than a hobby, or it's more than a hobby. It's a part-time job at this point. But but it's something I really like. And the goal of Step Back is to get to a full-time situation, which I'm not at yet, but one day. Something that you can help by showing Step Back to your friends. I've heard that Reagan had the Iranians hold the hostages until after the election to make them look better. Thoughts on that theory? It's a little conspiratorial, but not completely out of the realm possibility. I'm not exactly sure the details on that, but judging how the Iranian hostage crisis ended something like 2 days after Reagan's inauguration, that's not surprising. Do you consider Boris Yeltsin a traitor to the USSR? I mean, I am not a Soviet citizen, so I don't really care who's a traitor to who. I think that Boris Yeltsin was an angry dissident in a time. Hey, Fedor. He was a dissident at a time when the USSR was falling apart under its own conservative weight. The USSR was a stagnant, authoritarian, oppressive society that was keeping a lot of groups from autonomy. And Boris Yeltsin was more just boom. Grant Schwartz, you don't pronounce about like a Canadian. That's because Canadians aren't from Minnesota, which most Americans seem to think. Would you allow me to promote a local band from Vienna? These guys are friends of mine. What's this band? I know that you'll get spam filtered if you put a link in, but maybe I can try to fix that. Shakar asks, what's up? Hello, Shakar. You have been acknowledged. What's up? The answer is not much. I am today. I've been just throwing out resumes. That's my day. I'd like to know your thoughts on Lindy Beige. Let's find out. I think I've seen Lindy Beige's channel before, but I just want to make sure before I continue. Lindy Beige has a very big channel. Beyond Reason Official. So, okay. Honestly, I can't remember. I think I've been subscribed to Lindy Beige before at various times. And I think I should subscribe again. I think I got bored because this stuff about military war history and that kind of stuff doesn't interest me too much, but I'll take a look at it again. I don't know. I'm kind of picky when it comes to my YouTube videos, so. Okay. Sorry if this has heard this question before. Don't worry about that. I answer questions all the time. Don't worry. I answer a lot of questions very often. So, oh my. Sorry if I go quiet. It's me trying to copy down questions because a whole bunch of them come at once. Ugaboga asks, sorry if you've heard this question before, but which video are you the proudest of? There are two. So you stick around my channel long enough, you'll know that I have an extremely I have strong feelings about Islamophobia and how much I hate Islamophobia and how much I really wish that we paid more attention to the cool things that the Islamic world has contributed to our planet and our species, and how awesome, how awesome, lots that's happened in Islamic history is, and countering Islamophobic arguments. So I always think that my the video I'm most proud of is the video I made about Aisha, because Aisha is a extremely important woman in medieval history, and she's pretty cool. She spearheaded a lot of really interesting things for someone in the 7th century, but she's often the punching bag of a lot of. She's typically the punching bag of a lot of Islamophobes because of the age that she was when she married Muhammad. But instead of using her as a cudgel to attack Islam, like I focus on her life as someone who was an early leader in the church after Muhammad died and had a powerful role in basically determining what Islam was going to look like. And I feel like she doesn't get enough credit for that kind of thing. So that's that video I'm the most proud of. All right. What do you think about J.J. McCullough? His videos are okay, but in my opinion, the political ones might be a bit manipulated. What do you mean manipulated? I don't even know who J.J. McCullough is. I'm going to have to look him up now. J.J. McCullough. Winners and losers in Canadian politics. Oh, boy. Okay. I'll check out this channel. This is the first I've ever seen it, but I don't know that. I don't know anything about this guy. I'll have to see what's what. If his videos suck, though, I'll blame you for it. And I don't remember who your name is, so I'll blame just the general audience. Wolframium. Django 121. So how was the hangout with Mexi and Thought Slime? The hangout with Mexi and Thought Slime that happened, geez, now like 12 days ago. It was pretty good. I had a really good time with the group of people. So the event that we had with Mexi and Thought Slime, I thought that it was just going to have I was worried that we were going to end up in a situation where really only the 3 of us were there, or the 5 of us because 2 of us had partners. But that was not the case. That was not the case at all. I had a lot of people show up to the point where I think we took up half the bar that night. It was crazy. It was really busy. It was full of people. Lots of really crazy conversations happened. And then we ended up going to bed pretty late. I think the last of us who left, I was amongst the last of us who left, and there was probably 5 of us left, and it was well after midnight. So I think we had a pretty good time. Wolframian, Tristan, parlez-vous français? Oui, je parle un peu le français. J'ai vécu à Québec pour 3 ans et j'ai pris un programme de l'éducation français par le gouvernement du Canada. C'est gratuit, c'est pour tous citizens. And so, yeah, basically what I said is that I took I know French a little bit. I studied it for 3 years. I lived in Quebec for 3 years, and I took a government French program for a summer where I was paid 5 weeks to just learn French. So, yes. What is this live for? 9.9? That is a very philosophical question that I don't think we'll ever be able to answer. I don't know I don't know why I'm doing this live. I don't know why you guys find me entertaining, but yet I keep doing it and you guys keep showing up, so something's working. Would you remain a pacifist if another country invaded Canada? Probably. Like, I think that people don't understand what pacifism is exactly. Pacifism is just a belief that there are extreme limits on what violence can achieve. You know, like I live in a situation like if Canada were invaded and I was part of a resistance to take it over. Like I study the Iranian Revolution now. I know that even if your country has been sort of taken over by other people, if you have like an armed revolution to even push out the invaders, that's done. You still are never going to know what you're going to come out with. Like I think there's never like revolutions are chaotic and you never know what you're going to come out the other side with. And if a country took over Canada and occupied it, there is no going back to however that country was. It's gone. The Canada of pre-invasion is gone. Whatever we overthrow and replace it with could be anything. And I find that if we use violence, if we just murder our way out into power, you're going to end up with chaotic situations where we normally just end up with the death of with the most willing to use violence and the most authoritarian taking power. Because really, I think that the method you use to get power says a lot about the way that you're going to keep power. And if Canada were occupied by some foreign power, I mean, it would suck. But we would I would find other solutions rather than trying to murder everybody who's in charge. Because even if I didn't care about the universal humanity of all people, even if I thought, you know what, fuck these guys, like I wish they were dead. Even if I did wish they were dead, and I had no qualms about killing them, it would be the success of that revolution to do so would have unexpected results and would probably end up with something that's even worse, maybe, or it would end up with something that would not be what I desire. And to make the world that I desire, I would rather use different means. Have you seen the channel Primitive Technology? Yes, I have, Big Seltzer. It is a good channel. It is a pretty fun thing to watch. All right. Shakar wants to know what today's video is. Today's video is going to be about the Iranian Revolution. Tristan Futkosum. I'm guessing that's a question asking if I speak Finnish. I do not speak Finnish. I am sorry. How do you go about researching a video? I have several sources that I like to use depending upon what kind of stuff I'm working on. So a lot of my videos were either inspired by something that I read, which kind of gives me the start. But good places to go to for doing my research are Google Books to find, prominent books in the area. Google Books. Wikipedia typically has a good reference section that has a good list of prominent books in the field. I typically look at the ones that are on the list that are less than 20 years old. I like reading the latest news articles on that have something to do with the research subject to see how it applies to a modern day conversation. And I also typically go to places like Britannica Online, which is the Encyclopedia Britannica's online edition, which is actually pretty good. You can also go to I also get there's actually a kind of fancier Britannica that is available through the content. But the university that I used to work for still gives me access to their databases and libraries and stuff like that. So I typically go there as well. Um, and so like through a mix of those things, that's usually where I get the stuff for my stuff. Ron wants to know, have you heard about the stuff happening at the U.S. border, the government separating children from their parents, and how they lost something like 1,500 children? Any thoughts on that? Yeah, I have heard about that. It is super duper fucked up. I can't believe that like right now we're having a conversation about like Roseanne when like the story of the day should be that there's like some like Nazi level horrible shit happening down at the US border. So like, yeah, not good. Not good at all. Um, I've been asked to make a video about it, which I probably could because just telling people what's going on would be important. But honestly, I've thought about it. I thought about what my video would be, and for the most part, I would just be yelling in like horrified rage at the screen because, yeah, you don't take children away from their parents just because they're crossing the border illegally. Oh my goodness! How does that? How do you? Oh my! Like oh, this just shows that like the Trump regime's going to get away with some super Nazi things, and no one's going to do anything about it, and it's going to suck. So for your podcast with Cody and Tigerstar, could you set up a subreddit for questions? Because I live in England, so I always miss the chance to ask you guys questions. I could ask Cody that. At the moment, the hashtag AskSTH and the super chat seem to be satisfy him, but because we get lots of questions. We get a lot of questions during So That Happened, and it's quite chaotic, and a subreddit might be a good way to work through that because yeah, we don't really have a good way to evaluate questions, and So That Happened subreddit would be pretty fun as well. I imagine though that Cody would not want to manage that because he already had enough issues with his Discord server. I imagine a Reddit would be even worse. But it could be a cool idea. I don't know. I'll bring it up. 1 through 8 wants to know. I know you and Cody talked about him appearing on a Subscriber Appreciation Day. Will that happen? Maybe. He's a hard guy to get into a certain place at a certain time. He's a very very busy boy, and so if we did it, it would probably be on some very weird time that I don't really understand. So Shakar wants to know, have you seen the royal wedding last week? No, I haven't seen it. I have no interest in it. I also have no interest in broadcasting how little interest I have in it. So I'll just move along because I don't really care about the royal wedding. I don't really want to make a hype out of how much I don't care about it. So there it is. It's done. Fedor wants to know, are you following the From Nothing channel a bit? He is a buddy of mine and doing great at the moment. From nothing, you say. To shreds, you say. Let's see what this is all about. African history, that's a good start. All right. I'm going to like a few videos on here and see what happens. But yeah, an African history channel, yes, please. We do not have enough of that. Do. right. How was the movie, comrade? What movie? Thoughts on Tommy Robbins shiz? So I know that there's this guy named Tommy Robinson that everyone's asking me to have an opinion about, but I'm not exactly sure what the story is with him. He's an activist who got arrested. Is it sad that I just got up? No, Brendan. Don't worry about it. No one will judge you. Okay, so Tommy Robinson. Oh, God. Okay, whatever. Who gives a shit if somebody from the EDL got arrested? Yeah, whatever. Screw him. Screw him and anyone who looks like him. All right. What is love, Comrade Ace? I think you guys already had the conversation. You know, don't hurt me no more, etc., etc. I'm a bit late on that, aren't I? Have you considered doing a breakdown of 1804's Lewis and Clark expedition? I had somebody ask me about that a long time ago. Maybe it was you, Rain G. I'll write it down. Because, yeah, that could be fun. Serious, though, what is love? Love is, I think I actually went into something like this in my stream last weekend. Love is kind of love, I feel like, is one of the things that lets us know that, like, we're a social species. It's that, like, it's the way our brain, it's the way that, like, our brain and society and the world, like, rewards us because we're good to when we're good to each other, when we're helping each other out. And I feel like love is, like, you know, the feeling that, you know, you are safe with somebody, you are close to somebody. And I feel like that would be love is is, at least when it comes to love with people, not with your country, not with anything. It's good for, like, you know, letting you know that you belong somewhere. Have you heard that the majority of American Muslims now approve of gay marriage, while only 35% of white evangelicals do? That does not surprise me. Most American Muslims are Democratic leaning, and most of them are, like, large percentage are African American. Like, I don't know. I don't see why there'd be an issue. Hannibal Luki wants to know, what was the response to a royal wedding of Prince Harry and Ken? I feel like when it comes to, like, royal wedding and, like, you know, royalty crap, that, like, Canada gets excited probably more than the United States, but less than the United Kingdom. So we get, like, this medium of, like, you know, we get this medium case of thing, you know. That's about it. So, like, we get, so you know, when there's something like a royal wedding happening, I typically avoid the news and the CBC and Twitter for a few days. Why don't we just abolish nations and set up a global workers movement, something like the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics? Oh, Ace, you are adorable. If you think that the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics was anything more than a Russian-led state that was made to dominate all of the other smaller nation states that, in the name of not being a nation, seem to give all of the advantages to the Russians and brutally oppress everyone else. Just tell all of those Ukrainians who starved to death in the Holodomor, like, yeah. The Soviet Union was an authoritarian dictatorship that was a state capitalist country. It was not a good country. It was a bad place to be. Case in point, ask literally anybody who lived there. Now, I will say, It is not as bad as the United States made it out to be, but that doesn't mean that it was in any way good or desirable place to live. I know you're a tanky, so this is probably like kryptonite for you, but yeah, Stalin was bad and killed tens of millions of people. And like, that's a bad thing. And nobody who considers himself an advocate for the equality of humankind will possibly say that what Stalin did and what the Soviet Union's actions were anything close to what leftist ideals are. Why is Thought Time so cynical about the idea that someone can be both a business leader and care about the world at all? Well, I think that the decisions that you make to start, the USSR was what anarchists would call anarchists would call the Soviet Union a state capitalist country, because capitalist countries, it kept money, it still had grotesque inequality, it still had an elite class, it had all sorts of, like, it was still very much a stratified, unequal, authoritarian state. It wasn't so much giving the means of production over to the people, it was giving the means of production over to the state. And so that's why they call it state capitalism. Because capitalism with the state is tyranny. Or sorry, communism with a state is not communism. It doesn't exist. Do you ever have flashbacks? What would I have flashbacks about? Did anyone see the Fallout 76 reveal trailer? I haven't, but from what I've heard, I'm pretty excited to see what it'll go down. I could use a good survival game. I think that'd be good. What's your opinion of the rise of Saud, specifically their beginnings? Exploiting the fact that the European powers had basically no desire to live up to any promises they made in the Middle East, resulted in Saudi Arabia. Yay. Ace, why are you ignoring me? Because I'm this far behind on questions. Do you think that Trump is frightened of Kim Jong-un? No. I don't think Trump understands the weight of the things he's doing. Like, I think that you are I think that you're giving way too much credit to Trump to think that he'd be afraid of North Korea. He doesn't have a reason to be afraid of North Korea. He has a reason to be afraid of himself. Either way. Did you hear about Google's project for the U.S. Department of Defense? They're using AI to assist in drone targeting. Would not surprise me. That feels very Google. Yeah, our dystopian killer robot future is pretty... Our future is... Our technological totalitarian nightmare future is coming real very soon. When are you going to discuss my suggestion on something that happened, that if the Gallipoli campaign was a success? I don't know. I could bring it up. The thing is that the last two So That Happened podcasts were a little bit of a surprise for me, because Cody had a thing he wanted to talk about already. I do have it in the back of my mind as a thing to bring up with Cody if he ever has if we're doing a show and he doesn't know what to talk about that week, but I can you can put it into there. Could a negative income tax work better than UBI? Maybe. I'm not exactly sure what the difference with. No, I guess like the whole idea of like a negative income tax with like the thing is that people need money more than once a year. So what can I say about it? I don't know. Why is Donald Trump still going to rallies? Because Donald Trump loves rallies. Donald Trump is a narcissist who loves positive attention, and there's no place where Trump is happier than when he is just surrounded by people who adore him and don't question about anything. That's what he wanted. That's why he ran for president. I don't think he wants to do the actual presidenting stuff. So who knows what's going to come out of the stuff that's going on right now. I don't know. It's and also the United States is kind of in this eternal campaign mode. So he's also trying to keep support wherever it is, because if he doesn't come off as their wonderful racist daddy, then these authoritarian children who want a brave leader to get rid of all the people with the dark skin so they can stop being scared, then if he just stays in Washington and keeps failing at everything, then they're not going to like their big daddy who takes care of them, and then they'll get scared and they might vote for someone else. Trump don't want that. Cool. I found Peter Coffin's content through Serious Inquiries Only podcast. Would you consider going on that show? I mean, sure. I mean, it's a podcast that I would go on. If they had me on, that would be a different question. But I've never been asked to be on a podcast before. But I probably wouldn't say no unless it was something like The Daily Show or something. But if a show like Serious Inquiries Only asked me to come on their show, I would totally go on. They just haven't. And I feel like it'd be kind of weird for me to ask them to be a guest on their show. Have you ever come to Kansas City? Well, Brendan Davidson, I actually have been to Kansas City. I went to Kansas City once because what year would that have been? I think it was like 2015. 2015, I think, is when I went to Kansas City. And it was because Kansas City was a place that I went to. I went because I have a friend, more specifically my wife's friend. She lives in Kansas City, and she had a baby, and we went to go visit the babies, and they were very cute babies. But it did mean that, like, we spent like 5 or 6 days in Kansas City, and we didn't do much because we spent all the time taking care of the babies because they were newborn twins. We did manage to get downtown and have some burnt ends, though, which I think is the important thing you're supposed to do. So we definitely availed ourselves to some barbecue. Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven? Well, Wolframium, maybe we're all in heaven now. Maybe this is like Lost or something. What do you know about the Imperial Federation movement? I don't know anything about that. I'm going to Google that real quick. Imperial Federation movement, huh? A federal union instead of a British Empire. Okay. So what, it would just turn all of like the British Empire into like a big super state or something? Is that what this is? I don't have a neat idea. I got an email once from someone a long time ago who wanted me to make a video about this like movement to create a free movement zone between the UK and Canada and Australia and New Zealand. And I was like, oh. Then it turned out to be like run by like a bunch of conservatives. I'm like, oh, I'm not sure what that's all about. Wolframium, is philosophy useful nowadays? Yes. I think that philosophy is an immensely useful thing. I think that philosophy is a thing that is a line of inquiry that everybody should do to understand themselves and the world. Because philosophy is the way of interrogating your own thoughts to make sure that you are being consistent. And I feel like when you find out that you have beliefs that are not that are inconsistent, you can. It's a good way. It's like philosophy to me feels like the actual like academic discipline of introspection, and do that. Roseanne strongly resembles Valerie Jarrett, more European, less ape. Agreed. I have no idea. Roseanne said racist stuff and got kicked off the air. Good for me. Good for the world. Less Roseanne on. Okay. Maybe I should find out something because I thought that Roseanne, if I recall correctly, Roseanne ran for president once under the Green Party ticket. And then fast forward a few years, and now she's like an alt-right racist character. What happened to her between those 2 points? What happened? I don't understand. I'm not sure what happened to Roseanne in those years to drive her down like this like spiral. Okay, Soliloquy. So you got the exact same weird message that I did. Did the native people of Britain circa 100 BC have a concept of personal land ownership before the Romans invaded? Geez, that I don't know. I don't really know a whole lot about, pre-Roman Britain, so I can't really speak much to that. Does anyone have any good info about the Ottoman millet system? Still, can't say much to that. Have you played the new David Cage game, Detroit? I don't even know what a David Cage game is. Jeez. 3 in a row where I'm like, I'm an idiot. Detroit, Become Human. Okay, well, Detroit Become Human, I definitely did not play because it only came out for the PlayStation 4, and I do not own a PlayStation 4. So that definitely didn't amount to much. Sorry, Mike. Ooga Booga asks, what is the funniest angry comment that you have received? I actually I have a record of some of my angry comments, so maybe I could dig those up. Because I get quite a few. I think that my favorite are like comments that are either like really nonsensical. I love, one of my favorite things is deleting these like extremely long racist rants that I just didn't even read. Like I read like the first like paragraph and I'm like, yeah, screw this. And then I just delete it. And all of their all that essay that they basically wrote was over. All right. Yeah. Let me see. Let's read some of the nasty comments I've gotten over the last couple years. More liberal, clueless bullshit. You are an extreme SJW posing as a history channel. Unsubscribe? ? Found the white version of Uncle Ruckus. Uncle Cuckus? Cuck? Walt Disney was a badass. Anyone complaining about him is a cuckold. Bad word. Dude, you need to go to a gym? ? Unsubscribed. Your opinion on Marxism is disturbing. As an immigrant from an ex-Soviet satellite state, obviously, you're nothing more than a self-loathing, middle-class, untraveled product of the Canadian school system. I went through it, so I know your type. Lose weight? ? Get wrecked, pinko scum? ? Step back history. What a C word you are. A failed C word at that. Bullshit lies from the liberal media fascist. Most dumb video ever. Typical Jew supremacist propaganda. You are not the victim, and you slander and lie about a man of peace oppressed by Jewish greed, similar to North Korea, but a better system? Lying POS, question mark? Go back Auschwitz. Communist vermin mass murderers should not be entitled to an opinion. Kill yourself, white C-word. Anti-white C-word, sorry. Your history is garbage. Sit your fat ass down, question mark. Fucking Jews can't get the fuck out of here. You will be hunted soon, I predict. I won't be a hunter, but I have had dreams and seen it. Run now. Get out. Start working out. Take control of your life. Stop being fat and stop being a commie bitch. Chill. Stick an iceberg up your ass. 4 eyes. Yeah. 4 eyes. That I was like, did someone from like 1949 make fun of me? I think that I think I made an issue. I think the question mark was something that got added to my random thing. Roseanne Barr also ran for the Green Party, and I guess she transitioned more and more into the right over time. Yeah. Wow. You completely fucked up history with your politically correct bullshit. I really wish you shut the fuck up if that's the, quote, history you teach. I see why Ur's so fat, because Ur's so full of shit. The majority of Palestinian Arabs are terrorists, and Israel can do and will do whatever it takes to protect its citizens. P.S. All the Arabs with Israel citizenship are the happiest and best treated in the Middle East. The virgin fat Jew versus the Chad bodybuilding Blair Cottrell, who is a racist, like, neo-Nazi from Australia. Good old-fashioned racism. Why does every leftist male have a feminine voice? Repeated 5 times. Every single time, they call it the cuck voice. So those are all the comments I collected. I'm sure I'll get more over the years, but those are the most fun, interesting ones that I've collected. I'm glad you guys found those fun. Will you do bonus meme? I don't know what that means. Roy Lawrence, Tristan, go on Chapo. I would love to go on Chapo. I want to go on Chapo and do an episode where, like, we do, like, my favorite episodes of Chapo are the ones where Matt Christman talks to somebody. I mean, I admit, okay, when it comes to my voice, I do have a rather high-pitched voice for a man. I am in no way have a feminine voice, but I have, like, I'm not like a deep voice man. I have, like, you know, I am a tenor in the choir, you know. I have a higher end of the male range of voices. So yeah. I want to go on Chapo, or I just want to be best friends with Matt Kritzman. I don't know. I want to do either of those things. I would love to go on Chapo. I feel like I'd have a lot of fun talking about stuff, and I would love to do an episode where I just gab about, like, some sort of history thing with Matt Kritzman. I'm a big Matt Kritzman fan. You can probably guess. Odd question. Do you watch any YouTube channels? And if so, which ones? Oh boy, do I ever. Does anybody know if you can see a list of all the channels that you have ring-a-ding-dings for? Veritasium, a long time ago, Alternate History Hub, Amy Landino, who is a decent social media person, Art Explains, Ask a Mortician, Bad Mouse Productions, Braincraft, CGP Grey, Childish Wonder is kind of a dead channel. Comp Chomp, kind of a dead channel. Conjecture, kind of a dead channel. ContraPoints, Crash Course, Curio. I watch a lot of YouTube. Those are just the ones that, that's just me going from A to C with the ones that I have notifications for. Draw Curiosity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on for a while. Maybe I should make a thing on YouTube or on the Step Back subreddit. Maybe I should make like a post of like all of my favorite YouTube channels or something. Do a video on the history of worker co-ops. All right, Girthax, I'll look into it. Alrighty. Suleiman the Magnificent. How did you get into this channel? Ask a Mortician is an amazing channel. All right, Suleiman the Magnificent, what do you think about libertarians? There are two types of libertarians. There's, you know, the original libertarians, the ones who were like born in the like 1848 rebellions. People like in the Paris Commune who are like leftist radicals, kind of before there was a left wing, like before left wing was a thing that people used. They called them libertarians because they were against like the authority of the state. But that is a definition that I don't think many people use anymore. You know. My clothes are just awful. Like, that's just me. But the libertarians of today who have taken the word and kind of now own it are people who seem to think that the biggest political issues are like they can't ban black people from their restaurants, they can't drink raw milk, they can't own slaves, marry children, or are mad that they get in trouble when they say the N-word in public. Like, this seems to be like what like the libertarians today seem to care a lot about. I do like they seem to be like really white, really like okay off, comfortable white men who really have nothing to complain about, and so they complain that they can't, like, that they're not allowed to get botulism from their milk or something. It's ridiculous. They are silly, ridiculous people. And the whole movement, the like right-wing libertarian movement, was started as a backlash against the civil rights movement. So it's more than a little based in like racist thought. I do like all the memes that like have like the political compass, and it's like things like you know, authoritarian left, kill the fascist, and like libertarian left, it's like mock the fascist, and authoritarian right, it's like be the fascist, and then libertarian right is like actually it's a phebophilia, and I love that. I love like memes like that so much. All right, I'm getting close to the end. I'm sorry, Sir Zhao Zhao. I've got to get these videos out. I'm gonna finish. Okay, I'm gonna finish the questions now. This might go a bit over time, but I'll just finish it up. Can you sing? Yes, I was a competitive musical theater singer for a few years, basically from about 2005 to 2008. There was a brief time when I was considering musical theater as my university like path, and I would have been a musical theater actor type person. What do you think of Aaron Ra? He seems okay. I know he's kind of like a relic of like the old system, the old guard type thing, the old internet atheists. But honestly, I don't care enough about atheism to watch his stuff. Like, the people who are really hardcore about being atheists, I feel like there are more important things to worry for. What genre do you sing? Musical theater. Speaking of Subback subreddit, what do you think is the most? What do you think of the post regarding LibTech? I thought, yeah, someone was like saying that we should move to like some third, like some like non-profit non-Reddit thing that I'm not exactly sure. You gotta meet people where they are. You can't force people to register for this thing that nobody uses, so that you can talk to them. That's not really the way to get out there and communicate with new people. That's kind of the issue I'm having with the Slack. I'm not going to sing for you guys right now. I don't have time. Your favorite musical song? Right now, I think it's Wait For It from Hamilton. That's a pretty good one. Have you just resubbed to Lindy Beige because of the question earlier about him? Yeah, I'll give him another shot. I have no idea until I get bored again. Can you do a video about the UK Labour Party in Clause 4? I don't know what UK Labour Party. I'll write that down. Have you ever heard of the Great Railroad Strike of 1877? All right, Railroad Strike. All right, so yeah, I'll take that down. And then the last question: who built the Giza Pyramid or Giza Pyramid? It was the Egyptians. Sing next stream, maybe. Have you had response videos aimed at you? No, I have not. I have gotten, I've gotten like 3, I think, through all of history, and none of them are all that impressive. Anyways, it is 2 o'clock, my dudes. I'm going to get you guys the new video. I got to get the Iran video is now live. You guys should check it out. It's a pretty fun video. Get a drink, though, because it's 22 minutes and 50-some seconds long. So, anyways, here's a link, people. Armored Skeptic is a bad YouTuber. You guys have a wonderful afternoon. I'm going to go to apply for more jobs. You guys enjoy the new video, and I'll see you guys on Monday or next week for the next stream. So, bye, friends.